Hi guys, and welcome to the casting couch. Right? So today I thought in my last video I said something about pump raffle. Next video. So today this is more important, right? So we're gonna go over two topics today, and we try to keep this under an hour and a half. So stay tuned. Fuel setup. That is number one. And number two is Wastegate. So I drew this for you guys. I hope you don't see my invoice on the other side. So here it is. This is how you set up your fuel system. I hold this here so you can pause and you can look at this. It's very, very easy. You have a fuel tank, you have an injection pump, you have a fuel filter, 100 micron, you have an electric feed pump, maybe a Bosch 044, and you have a fuel filter of your choosing, 10 micron, 5 micron, 8 micron, 2 micron, it doesn't really matter to me. You put what you want there, and you route this into your injection pump, right? It's so easy. And on the other side of your injection pump, you have a return line. So you take this little restricted banu bolt you have, and no, you put it on the shelf because maybe someone want to buy it later on, right? And then you put a normal, unrestricted banu bolt in here. And you connect that return line to a fuel pressure regulator. That fuel pressure regulator you set at 2 bar or 3 bar. It doesn't really matter. 3 bar will make it a little bit more gentle and calm. So 3 bar is good. No vacuum or boost hooked up to the fuel pressure regulator. It's going to be constant 3 bar. And then your return line goes back to the fuel tank. So this is very, very easy. That was 2 minutes 30 seconds and 30 seconds of bullshit. So 2 minutes, and now you know how to connect your fuel system. Now we go to the topic on everyone's thoughts: wastegates. Yeah, I mean, I get these messages all the time, but today a friend of mine sent me a message like, "You don't like wastegates." Who said I don't like wastegates? Of course I like wastegates. How else are you going to control your turbo on a petrol car? Yeah, so wastegate has their place. It has their place for the guys that want the absolute maximum performance they can get, right? So when you have maxed out your fuel pump, there is no more fuel to get. It's finished. It's everything you can throw at it. But your turbo is, sufficient for it. But you don't really need the boost. You need the efficiency. Then you can turn your boost down just a tad. 0.1 bar. Something like that. 0.2 maybe. And what will happen is that your EGT will go up. So from your 600-650 degrees normal running temperature, it will go up to 800-850. And that's where you have the maximum efficiency. 800-850 degrees Celsius. I don't know what that is in basketball fields, but you can look that up at your closest library. So this is the way to up your EGT, to up your efficiency. You lower your boost. Because on a diesel you can never get more boost. It is impossible. On a petrol engine you can have fuel for 1 bar, but you can boost 2 or 3 or 4. You can always up your boost. You will melt your engine. But I mean, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about boost. On a diesel, that's not possible. If you just shut that wastegate, it will only boost what it boosts. It will never just scream away and go into orbit. Never. So it doesn't really work like that. And that is because a petrol engine runs on air. It doesn't matter that you only have fuel for 1 bar. If you give it more air, a diesel, it doesn't care about that. On a petrol, you have this throttle body. More air, more revolutions, more power. On a diesel, it's just open. You see people running them on a pallet without intake, right? It's just open, and they idle. Strange, right? Because it doesn't care about air. It only cares about fuel. That is why your throttle lever is on the injection pump. That is why the injection pump is so important. Right? So do we get it now? So can we stop this lunatic discussion? You need a wastegate. You don't fucking need a wastegate. There's no cars after 1996 or something like that has a wastegate. That is diesel. A petrol car has to have it because it runs on air. A diesel will only boost what you give it fuel. So listen carefully. If you turn down your fuel, you will turn down your boost automatically. It's not that you're going to have a little bit of fuel, 200 horsepower and 3 bars of boost. It doesn't work like that. If you turn your fuel down, you have 1 bar of boost. And you have 300 horsepower. And then you turn up your fuel. You don't touch anything else. You turn up your fuel and you have 2 bars of boost and 450 horsepower. And then you turn up your fuel a little bit more and you boost more and have more power. It will not boost more than you give it fuel. That is why the manufacturers went over to VNT. Because with technology, they can control the engine in better ways. So, as normal, I get messages. And I'm a man. I can only do one thing at a time, I can't fucking... So, a VNT doesn't replace a wastegate. A VNT turbo has no wastegate. And that's not because the VNT don't need. It's because the diesel engine don't need. You understand? This is so simple. And I've said this before. Porsche 996, 997 and forward turbos, 911 turbos. They have a VNT turbo. They actually have 2 VNT turbos. It doesn't matter. They have VNT turbos. But they're petrol engines. So VNT replaces a wastegate? No! Because these fucking cars has wastegates as well. They have a VNT turbo and a wastegate. Because it's a petrol engine, you need a wastegate. On a diesel, you don't have a wastegate. This is so fucking stupid. How many videos do I need to do? Is it really that hard to understand that a diesel engine runs on fuel and a petrol engine runs on air? A petrol engine, more air is more heat, and you cool it off with fuel. A diesel engine, more air is cooler, more fuel is hotter. So you give it more air to cool it off. And that is why they boost a little bit more than you give it fuel. And that is why your EGT is 600, 650 degrees Celsius and not 800, 850 as you might have wanted. Because they cool down automatically. Just a little bit. So they're still efficient, very, very efficient, but they're not at the maximum efficiency. You don't need maximum efficiency. You need reliable. And reliable is your 600, 650 degrees. That is reliable. Reliable is not using a wastegate. And I've said this many times before on video and on people that has messaged me. Go out to your car that you have set today to boost 1.5 or 2 bars or what the fuck, right? And you know this car boosts this much every day. Now you go out and you pull that fucking hose to your wastegate and you go for a pull. And then get back to me how much that car boosts now. And get back to me and tell me how much you're fucking overfueling. The only thing you can achieve with a wastegate on a diesel is lowering your boost. Lowering. You can never get more boost, ever. That's not how it works. So, if you are new to this, don't use a wastegate. You use a wastegate when you are a professional, when you know exactly what you're after. You know exactly how shit reacts. Then you can use a wastegate. And as my good friend said, just crack it off its seat at that highest RPM. Just 500 RPM before rev limit. Just crack it off its seat. Just to evacuate a little bit of gases just on top. And I mean, there are millions ways of controlling this, and you might want different things at different RPM levels and so on. But you need to know what you're doing to do that. And when you buy a big box of Lego and you think that is building a car, that means you're not going to use a wastegate. So, I mean, have I made myself clear this time? Do you understand how an engine works? I mean, the same people that in one post on Facebook writes, use this VNT, use this VNT. They don't say a word about wastegates. But in the next post, they say you need to have a wastegate. Oh, I run this HX35W with an internal wastegate, blah, blah. So you forgot it first? Because you don't need a wastegate. No, you have a VNT, it's okay. But now, if you don't have VNT, I mean, this is so stupid. I wish there were books or like some internet thing, like some search thing on internet where you can just punch in things and you can get like millions of results to read, or stuff like this, so people could educate themselves. Yeah, ever heard about Google? I don't know, but it just comes to mind. Google, something like that. So you try that, and see you in a couple of days. I love you, but you're fucking stupid.